Okay. See if that's recording. What happened there? Okay, we've got that recording. I'm using two systems to record this. Screen capture, we're trying to capture about 2 3/4 monitors here. Don't know how that'll work. I'm also recording this with my I didn't have these on. I'm also recording this with Movi screen capture software, and I'm using my iPhone to record this overall cockpit setup. So I don't know how to combine the two yet, but it's a work in progress, you might say. We're going to make a short flight from Chilliwack to Nanaimo. That's in Vancouver, or British Columbia, I should say. Chilliwack, British Columbia to Nanaimo, British Columbia on Vancouver Island. We're using the Airfoillabs 350 King. I like to use the 2D pop-ups, which I think makes it an excellent platform for learning and for flight simulator, in that you're not always trying to shift unnaturally to find to different view settings, so you can punch with your mouse or something the right keypad. So I think it makes it easier. There's many setups in YouTube in the view monitor here, like you can use different views as provided right within the King Air aircraft itself, which are also very good. I'm also using my Noom pad, which gives me all the different views that I like. So you can use them both. It's also got a system here for different states of the aircraft. I prefer to start it up for video making at this time anyway in the before taxi state to save some time. And up in the corner I have my frame rates here. I'm getting about 28 right now. It should increase as I get up in the air. We've got our route planned or plugged into our flight management computer over here on the right monitor. And once we get airborne, we hope to track that route to make over to Nanaimo and to make an ILS approach on runway, I believe it's 16. I've got my I got to set up my altitude here for 5,000 feet. Okay, we got our altitude set. I might as well set up my nav radio now for the ILS runway 16 or 16 approach into Nanaimo, BC. It calls for, I don't know whether you can see it in here on the approach plate, but the information is coming off the approach plate, and that calls for a frequency of 110.35. So we're going to set that up there now. 110.35. Okay, we got our nav radio, nav 1 set to the ILS approach frequency, and we also got to set up our HSI through the autopilot over here for the preparation for the FMS. What's going on? I got to get that up in there. Okay, I've got the MFS frequency set up. I don't think you can see it there up in my HSI 2D pop-up that I think it's the S horizontal situation indicator, yes. And we can also get I want to get the nav 1 radio to come. There's VOR. and I can preset the heading for the approach, which is off the approach plate again, is 164. I got 166, so we go over here to the heading. Why is that not? That's the heading mode. Oh, I'm using the wrong button. Should be using the course. Okay, we got 164, which is our course or heading for the ILS localizer. So we got all that, I think, set up. We got altitude set in our altimeter. Now the King 3 Air has a whole bunch of has an operations manual over in the left pocket down here, and which you can call up, and I've got it up on my monitor, right monitor. That's got all the aircraft limits, performance settings or requirements or specifications, and it's got the checklist for every step of the flight. We're going to do a couple of them. We won't do the what's called the run-up before taxi because it's like 4 pages long. But just to show you what's going on, we'll do the before taxi checklist there, which you can automate, and it'll take you down to the different spots on the aircraft panels where you should be looking and clicking. So let's do the before taxi checklist.
Gen tie switch.
Gen tie switch.
Observe left generator tie, right generator tie annunciators illuminated.
Normal.
Open. Voltmeter.
Voltmeter.
Observe center bus at battery voltage.
About 28.
Check.
Oh, down to 23 or
Gen
4.
tie switch.
Gen tie switch.
Observe center bus voltage normal.
Okay, just set it to normal.
Normal.
It'll automatically set
Bus
the
sense switch.
correct setting. Bus sense switch.
Observe left generator tie open, right generator tie open, and battery tie open annunciators illuminated. Rotate the voltmeter bus select switch through each position. Note 0 voltage on all positions except battery, external power, center bus at battery voltage, and center bus. Check. Bus sense switch.
Bus sense switch.
Observe left generator tie open, right generator tie open, and battery tie open annunciators illuminated. Reset. Rotate the voltmeter bus select switch through each position.
I got a double voice going on here.
Positions except battery, external power, triple fed bus, and center bus. Bus selector switch.
Triple fed.
Triple fed.
Which is down here in the center. Triple
Master
fed.
panel and cockpit lights. As desired.
Cockpit lights are all up.
Environmental system.
That's the cabin temperature, air,
Set.
etc.
Inverters 2.
Inverters on.
Number 1 and 2 AC bus annunciators extinguished.
What? Oh, extinguished.
On check. Avionics master switch.
Master switch, avionics on.
On. FMS.
FMS we
Verify
have
and accept.
accept.
EFIS power switches.
EFIS power switches on.
Flaps.
Flaps, no flaps up.
Exterior lights.
Okay, we got taxi and nav lights on, landing lights are off.
As required. Flight and engine instruments.
Flight and instruments, nothing.
Check.
Checked.
Cabin lights.
Cabin lights.
As desired.
Furnishing switch, I don't know what that is. Where is that?
As desired.
I don't know what that is.
Annunciators.
Annunciators, test, okay.
Test and normal.
Normal.
Flight controls.
Flight controls,
Free and correct.
free and correct.
Flight instruments.
Flight instruments,
No flags.
no flag showing.
Brakes.
Release and test. That's down here. Release, put them back on, test. Done.
Release and test. Before taxi checklist. Complete.
Okay, before taxi checklist is complete, so we're going to advance that now to the final items before takeoff checklist. We're not going to do the run-up before takeoff checklist because it's like 4 pages long. So we're going to go to the before takeoff final items checklist, which we'll do. Okay, the next thing I have to mention here is the King Air has 2 thrust modes called low idle and high idle. When you're flying, you got to be up in high idle. When you're on the ground taxiing, you're on low idle. It also has 2 modes associated with that, Alpha and Bravo mode. I haven't got those quite figured out. When you're in Bravo mode, keeps your speed down, but then for me it seems to bring the plane printer to a stop, so I have to sort of go back and forth between Alpha and Bravo. Okay, we got master light switch on, the shut caution light, shut them off. So we're at low idle, prop levers full up, mixture link up, and release brakes, and we'll see if we can go out and taxi to the runway, which has not popped up on my thing. It's supposed to be geo-referenced in my thing, but anyway, we're familiar with Chilliwack Airport, so we'll taxi out here to the end of runway or start of runway 07. So with that thrust mode set in Alpha low idle, you really got to work the brakes to keep it from picking up too much speed. So I've got my throttle setting right down to idle. Okay, I hope we're capturing some of this screen okay. It's a work in progress. I'm recording with 2 methods here right now. Hopefully I can find some editing software where I can combine elements of both for a different type of display, but we are just working on that. I don't know, there seems to be a new shed being built over there. I don't know whether that's true to life or not. Another note here, we're not flying real live weather, so we're just flying manually configured weather, and so we're not using ATIS weather barometer settings, etc. We're just using standard.
Approaching runway 07.
Stop here for a minute. We're just using standard pressure, which is 2992 for altimeter settings. So okay, we don't have World Traffic 3 loaded at this time, so away we go. Oh, I didn't do the before taxi checklist. We'll do that. Put the brake on here, and we'll go through that now. So this is the final items before takeoff checklist. Start.
Bleed air valves.
Bleed air valves.
Open.
Open.
Environmental bleed air.
Environmental bleed air. As
As
required. Okay, I don't know why that has to be in here. Final.
Electric heat.
Electric heat off.
Off. Aft heat.
Off.
As desired.
I got it off.
Aft blower.
Aft blower off.
As desired. Generator
Generator
loads.
loads look good, left and right. They're about
Check.
22.
Battery ammeter.
Battery ammeter. It's,
Check in the range from 0 to 10 amperes.
yeah, it's just showing like
Exterior
1.
lights.
Exterior lights. Okay, now landing lights coming on, and we got
Set.
the nav lights on, and I think I got to go to a different
On.
side to get the strobe. Oh, beacon and
Ice
strobe
protection.
on. Okay. Ice protection.
As required.
As required. Ice. We don't need
Auto ignition.
auto ignition if required. I
On
don't.
if required.
I don't think we need it. I'm not sure
Auto
why.
feather.
Auto feather.
Check and armed.
Checked and armed down here in the center.
Annunciators.
Annunciators.
Considered.
Considered. Nothing showing.
Headings. Flight directors.
Heading.
Set. Prop levers. Full forward.
Forward.
Crew briefing.
Crew briefing. We don't have.
Complete. Transponder. On. Brakes. Released. Engine anti-ice. Off or as required. Before takeoff, final items checklist.
Okay.
Complete.
Taxiing out. Before takeoff, final items checklist complete. And on climb out here, we're going to use the vertical speed mode for climb, which we can use the rocker panel here on the autopilot for increasing or decreasing our rate of climb. This is all after we select the autopilot. Okay, we're lined up here. Let's see what happens. My rudders are very sensitive, so I have trouble sometimes keeping everything lined up. Okay, full thrust.
Auto feather lights on.
That's
Airspeed alive. 60 knots. V1.
Rotate.
Rotate 2.
Almost got off the runway there.
Gear up.
Okay, gear up over here.
Flaps indicates up. Attitude indicates up.
Okay, so let's set the VS mode. The nav mode is arm. And let's get that down a little bit. Okay, let's see if we can put the autopilot on here and see what happens. Okay, turning really the wrong way, but I don't know how you determine. We're climbing at about 3,000 feet per minute, but I guess we'll clear all this terrain here. I should have been climbing out the other way, I think. But okay, we're going to close this for now, this checklist thing. Okay, we're capturing the altitude, or we will be in 1,000 feet, so we can start bringing our throttle setting back a little bit. And looks like I don't know whether we've captured the FMS yet or not. Looks like we're capturing it because it's bringing it around. So. Whoop, what's that? Oh, overspeed. God, I do that all the time. I do it all the time. A little overspeed situation there, not monitoring my speed, all right. So we are capturing the routing on our FMS. Beautiful scenery here at Chilliwack. There is some high terrain around, so I think I should have started my turn left, and maybe the FMS then would have taken me left. So we're at 5,000 feet, and I gotta watch my speed here. I don't get a low speed setting now, so I'll bring that up about half. I like to pop up the horizontal attitude indicator because I have trouble reading the speed otherwise. So that's one thing I like there, and I can put that over there. But when I do the checklist, then it's in the way. So okay, we want to bring up our operation manual again, the checklist, and I want to do the cruise checklist. Okay, let's do the cruise checklist.
Cruise power.
Cruise power, okay, we'll put that about 85 or 90 on our throttle settings. So we'll bring our prop RPM down to about 1600 RPM. Okay, let's see if we're maintaining our speed. It's okay, so that's done. Cruise power set.
Auto feather.
Auto feather off.
Off. Systems check.
Systems check complete.
Complete. Aft blower.
What's that? Aft blower. This has to do with cabin, I guess.
As required. Communication and navigation radios.
Okay, we got our nav 1 set to the ILS frequency for Nanaimo, so check.
Destination weather.
We're not using weather, we're flying manually configured weather.
Check. Approach procedure.
Approach procedures, we have our ILS approach plate in front of us.
Crew briefing.
No crew briefing, I am the crew.
Consider. Landing data.
Okay, so we can go again to the manual there and go under the performance settings and go to the landing page, and it's got all the appropriate data entered in there, which I should change if I was. I guess it's got stuff set in there that for our takeoff weights and everything as configured when we started it up. So we can set that. It's configured our speed bugs for landing. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this. So now we'll switch to the back to the normal page.
Cruise checklist.
Cruise checklist complete.
Complete.
And we're gonna go to the approach page. We'll leave that there now. I'll just leave that up for now, or I can bring it down a little bit, or I can bring it over here for a bit to be just sort of on the edge of the screen so I can get it easy. I want to see the props and everything in the screen capture, hopefully. Okay, let's see where we're at. Oh yeah, and we've got this all on our for-flight iPad. I've now got a subscription to all my approach plates. Actually, everything are geo-referenced, so you can show your position where you are on the approach and taxiways, etc. Which is, we'll see how it works. This is the first flight I've used with all that in here. Before I was using Navigraph on my laptop. Okay, we're about 10 miles from Langley Airport, regional airport down here, small aircraft airport. My nephew's taking flying lessons out of there right now, Jordan Savage. He's pretty close to getting his private pilot license, which I think everybody, including him, should be excited about. Okay, that's talking so much here, I'm not sure. Gotta keep things in order. What's our speed? Oh, it's getting up there again, so I gotta bring that down, or we're gonna have a overspeed again. I didn't think it was that high. I'm only at 72% on the torque. It's not coming down very much. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit to get it back down to. I gotta start studying the manual a little bit here to see what the settings are for the torque. I know the RPM is around 1600. I'm gonna go over and check that again. Where are we here? Yeah, we got that set about 1600 on our prop or RPM settings. And this turboprop, your throttle settings is indicated by torque. So I'm not a twin trained pilot here, so I have to learn all this stuff. So let's hopefully we're getting that all captured on both recording methods. So once we get over past YVR, and halfway we'll do our approach checklist. Once we turn on to the ILS, I don't know whether we have time, but we'll do the landing checklist. And we are 20 miles from YVR, Vancouver International. I really do like this King Air, although I'm a long ways away from flying it correctly and the way it should be flown. I really like all the different panel setups it has there before different states. You can start it either cold and dark, or before taxi, or prior to taxi. So you can go into this pretty as much depth as you want. But these checklists sure help you also learn the different panel settings. So I think it's really set up for, as I think it's called, a study level aircraft, in which for me, it's certainly that. I've got two mics going here. I got my headset, which is providing the audio for the screen capture and Movi software, and I'm using an iPad mic, lapel mic, for my iPhone recording system. So I got a couple things here going for everything. I really would like to learn how to edit so I can use this view on my iPhone and bring in the screen capture, but also bring in my iPhone view of the whole cockpit setup. So I think that's would be different than what you see with most presentations I've seen on YouTube. So at the approach speed Tupolev, we want to be down to 3,000. So I'm going to set my altitude for 3,000 already. So now we've got our altitude set for our the altitude we're supposed to be at Tubuv. That's Tango Uniform Bravo Uniform Victor, which is the initial fixed position for the ILS DME. So I guess what that means is the DME is right at the same location as the ILS transmitter. Sometimes they're different. The DME is different from I think from the ILS beacon. What's our speed? I'm going to bring up that again, because again I can't. Our 226, which is fine. I sure got to get some more lighter, a bit of weight. See the approach plate. I need a light from back here so you can see the approach plate. I guess my light is overhead up here, so you can't read it. So I need another light back up over here somewhere. Oh, it's fun. But you know, boy, you really get into it. It can be kind of stressful. My former life as a BC Coast pilot, you know, you reckon it was quite stressful at times, although a very good profession. You find similar stress entering into when you're flying the aircraft. So I got to be careful of that, because I have heart condition and shouldn't be overstressing. I'd like to add the BC Coast pilots are the primary company on this coast for looking after the pilotage requirements for all federal or foreign-going ships coming into Canadian pilotage waters. You also have the Fraser River pilots, which look after the Fraser River from Sandheads up the river. It was a very good company to belong to, and I think they do an admirable job still trying to maintain the high quality of pilotage on this coast, despite many private interests always trying to undermine our pilotage system, which at this point is free from a lot of company influences, because it's independent, and that's the way this kind of a system should be in order to maintain safety, because there's all kinds of pressures to get ships into the docks, and first, which if you didn't have a dedicated pilotage system independent from those pressures, then it would hired pilots hired by companies or whatever would tend to do what those companies wanted if they want to keep their jobs. So therefore you don't have the same level of safety. Anyway, I digress. Back to flying here. Okay, I can see we're going to take okay, we're altering now for Tubuv, and we're going to start I'm going to put this out of the way for the time being, try and put it up here. We're going to descend now to 3,000 feet. Bring my throttles back in order to, But I got to watch that once it captures the altitude, or I have an underspeed situation. So we're gonna. Okay, I better monitor this for a minute. What? Oh, I didn't increase that enough, so I got to put that down. Whoop, too much. Okay, I'm going to do the approach checklist.
Surface de-ice.
Surface de-ice.
As required.
I guess I got to do the clicking on that.
Auto feather.
Auto feather. Check armed.
Check and arm. Fuel balance.
Fuel balance is acceptable.
Check. Pressurization.
We didn't do anything with pressurization, cabin pressurization.
Check. Environmental bleed air.
Environmental bleed air. Nothing to do there.
Low.
So,
cabin sign.
cabin signs, don't need to worry.
Cabin condition.
Cabin condition, okay back there.
Secure. Exterior lights.
Exterior lights
As required. Landing data.
Landing data, we've got our ref speeds.
Review. Approach briefing.
Approach briefing complete.
Complete. Altitude alerter and radar altimeter.
Set.
Set. Flaps.
Too early to set them yet, but we'll use approach.
Approach checklist.
Okay, approach checklist complete.
Complete.
Okay, we did that a little bit prematurely, I think. So we'll put up the before landing checklist there now. I'll get that out of the way again here. Over here. Okay, we've captured our altitude of 3,000, and I had to bring my throttle setting up because sometimes I get busy and forget that, and we're actually at 188 knots, which is fine. I can actually, still a little bit early to put down 1 notch of flap setting. This aircraft has only 2 flap settings. One is approach, and what's the other one? Up here somewhere. Flap, approach speed, and then completely down. So we're holding 188, which is a speed we need for gear extension, or the upper limits for gear extension and flap settings. So when we get I don't know, 5 miles from Tubuv, we'll set 1 notch of flaps for approach and what do we got? Yeah, 1 notch approach. Oh, you know what? Big error. I didn't have my the thrust mode set to idles. Probably had something to do with affecting our speed, but probably in real life the plane wouldn't have worked with that. Checklist. Why wasn't that on the... I gotta look at the checklist again to make sure that's there. I'm in alpha mode, but I didn't have high idle set on this area right here. Okay, 14 miles from Tubuv. I'm going to start bringing my speed down a little bit more. It's climbing up on me, mainly because I put it up to high idle. Oh, look, I always do something wrong. Get the speed back down so we can get our flaps down. Okay, we can put the 1 notch of flaps. I'm going to do that now.
Flaps up.
It says flaps up, but we're putting them down, so there's something going wrong there. And we're 12 miles from Tubuv. And you can see that hopefully on my iPad for flight. I love it. Okay, pay attention, Gary. 160 speeds coming down. That's because I put the flaps down. So gotta watch that. We're at 159, which is fine. I'm gonna keep it at 160 till we get a little closer to move. I don't know whether I'll capture the ILS, etc. I'm having trouble doing that. The localizer is supposed to be, according to the approach plate, good within, I think it's 25 degrees of the beam, so you have to be in there. We don't have the localizer showing up yet, so we're probably quite a ways out that side, that cone, as you might say. Oh, there comes up the scenery errors for the add-on scenery. I'm using add-on scenery from Canada 4 X-Plane, I think it's called, and it's good scenery, but it's always missing one or two scenery objects, it seems, that I can't seem to ever get installed, so you come up with these scenery errors. But so far I think they're pretty insignificant ones, because so far it hasn't interfered much with the scenery that I can tell. Okay, 7 nautical miles. Well, I'm going to put my gear down now just prematurely, or else I might forget. Because I get too busy in this learning stage, and I'm going to put my props to full too. When I'm a little more efficient, I should be able to do things in a more timely manner. We're 156 knots, 6 miles from Tubuv. Okay, what are we doing here now? We got flaps and approach speed, we got our gear down, I'm going to change my altimeter setting now, or it might keep me from doing the capturing the ILS. So far I haven't been able to there's the localizer showing up now. So I'm going to try and do approach. I don't know whether it'll do that. I got the approach mode armed on the autopilot, but we'll see what happens. We're still tracking the FMS. I might have to go and switch radios there to get I don't know. I got the FMS there. I don't know whether I should still have FMS. I think I have to switch. I don't know whether it'll automatically, when the approach mode, go over to the thing or not. We'll just see what happens. I'll probably have to fly it manually, the approach manually anyway. So it should start bending around here shortly. That's our speed, 150, which is fine. Okay, 1.5 from 2. It should start bringing it around right now. If we're tracking the FMS, which we are. It should start bringing us around. There it is. Whether it's going to capture the approach, I don't know. Localizer needles coming in to match the routing track. Okay, the localizer now jiving with the FMS thing, but don't see any change to the. We're overshooting the localizer a little bit, so we'll fly it in as far as the first UGEM waypoint, then we'll go to manual if it's not capturing the. I don't know. I think I gotta do something to. Okay, I've got it on the localizer, so maybe. Okay, it's got the approach, so I did have to switch And I've captured the localizer. I don't know whether we'll get the glide scope. It isn't showing yet, but okay, we should be doing the landing checklist now.
Landing gear.
Landing gear down.
Down 3 green. Approach speeds.
Confirmed. Approach speed is good. Getting up a little high though.
Confirmed. Exterior lights.
As required. Landing lights are on.
As required. Radar.
Good.
Standby as required. Surface de-ice. As required. Engine and de-ice.
Boy, I don't know that. It leaves you a lot to do with the lesson.
Before landing checklist.
Before landing checklist complete. Okay, it's watch our speed here now. I don't know.
1,000 feet.
I don't see any localizer here, so I gotta watch this. I don't have a localizer. Anyway, it gets a little closer. I can see the 2 whites down there. It looks like a couple red pappy lights. So, but again, I got no sign of a glide scope. No glide scope. Although it shows glide scope arm, but I don't have any.
3 mile final runway 16.
3 miles final. We should be getting the glide scope, but I don't see any glide scope. How come? Okay, I'm gonna break off and fly it manually. Well, I'll leave it for a minute here and get it over there. I think it's coming down too fast. No glide scope.
200 feet to minimums. 100 feet to minimums.
Slow down a bit here.
500.
I want to go full flap setting. Whoop, getting off the run line up here.
Minimums.
Oh, it's faux pas trying to find my bloody autopilot. Oh, wild. Too fast. Too fast. Speed's coming down
100 feet.
way too fast. Hold it off as I can to get the speed down. Okay, better now.
Props full.
I had to hold her off a lot longer than I should to get the speed down because I come in way too fast.
40 knots.
Okay, I want to go down to idle thrust here. Low idle. Oh. I basically stopped right up on the... Well, it wasn't perfect for sure, but, you know. And my geo-referenced approach plate, or airport chart, come up. Well, a little bit of hairy landing, come in way too fast. I should have been down about 115 there, 110 before the threshold. I was like 135, so I had to hold her off there quite a bit to get the speed down. But my lineup wasn't very good. You gotta look to the wrong spot for your darn manual, and then you lose. Things get out of hand real quick. These geo-referenced airport plates are really good because you can see exactly where your turnoff is. Am I still recording up there? Yeah, I'm at 44 minutes on the movie software. I can get rid of that for the time being, get it out of the way. I can get rid of this too, so I get a little better look at out the windows. Again, I'm in alpha mode taxiing, which is I seem to have to do. If I go to Bravo mode and low idle, it just will not go anywhere. So I don't know whether that's a problem with the thing or that's just the way it's supposed to be. So I keep saying I got to get the manual out, which I do. You know, I've changed my places where I've got these 2D pop-up panels, which interfere sometimes too. I'm used to looking over here to the right for my autopilot and stuff, and I've got it on the left side now, which doesn't work good for the, you know, more natural for me to look to the right. So I lose, over there I lose situational awareness, I guess you might call it. It's fun though. I'd sure like to get some videos start to showing up really good. And it's sure nice when you get some viewer feedback. You know, if somebody ever watches these darn things. I'm just learning, and you know, all us learners can use some encouragement. I'm trying to learn the plane. I've got a private pilot license for single engine about 35-40 years ago. So I'm trying to learn all this IFR and flying a twin turboprop as well as the FlyJ Sim 737. So I'm trying to learn how to record the videos on YouTube. So it's a lot. I encourage anybody else to do it that's into flying, because it really adds a lot more to the experience overall. I also find when I replay the videos, I can more clearly see all the mistakes I'm making. So it's actually a pretty good learning tool too, as well as, you know, get it up on YouTube, but I don't get many views. So I have had a few, but I welcome viewer comments, because it's, you know, good or bad, I guess, tell you where you're going wrong. And that way you know whether you're making any kind of improvement or not. So, and we're taxiing up to the terminal here. Boy, it's pretty warm here because I got my window shut for the curtains so it doesn't interfere with the... So I'm actually developing a sweat here. And I have World Traffic 3, but I didn't load it for this flight because that's another whole learning experience. Unless you're flying the real live weather, you're a good chance you're going to be taking off against or landing against taking off aircraft, etc. So it looks like we got a nice twin turbo off on our port side here. That's ship Lango, and that's what flies in and out of here. I don't know whether it's Pacific Coastal or not. It looks like it is Pacific Coastal, which is a real live, yeah, that's Pacific Coastal, and they do fly in and out of here, I think. Yeah, it says Pacific Coastal, I think. I'm going to go right up closer than I would here because I've stopped it back further and you can't get the flag. We got 2 Canadian flags showing there, which is really good. Okay, we're gonna put the brakes on here. We're gonna go to our fuel cutoff. Again, I'm looking in the wrong bloody place all the time. So there's the fuel cutoff. And we gotta shut our avionics off so we don't bugger them up. And then we'll go back to view mode. Okay, we're basically completed the flight. It wasn't letter perfect, but you know, overall, it wasn't too bad. I landed. Isn't there a saying that any landing you walk away from is a good landing? So thanks for watching, everybody, and any comment, good or bad, is, well, good or more welcome than bad, but that goes with the territory, right? So, okay, thank you very much, and have a good evening. Okay, we've stopped recording here. Good night, iPhone.